Hello, everyone! Welcome back to another episode of Seems Right. I am Kai, I use he, they, and she pronouns, and this is my wonderful channel, Estelle of Imladris. Thank you to everyone who told me I was muted. Doing great. It's been a busy day. I've already been 3 people today, so let's just keep riding. So, as you can see, I've dressed for the occasion. Today's subject on Seems Right is dirty laundry. Dirty clothes and the stories they tell. This is in part inspired by a lovely request that I got in my suggestion box to talk about costume breakdown, which we'll get into later, which is the act of artfully distressing clothes. But first, we're also going to talk about costume maintenance and all the other stuff. But first and foremost, we're going to talk about why I love dirty costumes so much. But before we get into all of that, let's get into our quick announcements. First and foremost, times are hard for our incredible queer community. I love you all. Thank you for being here. Thank you for spending your time with me. And just thank you for being. Love you all. Thank you for being here. Second of all, I'm wishing all of those who celebrate a peaceful and blessed Ramadan. I stand against the genocide and ethnic cleansing of Palestine and the West Bank and implore everyone to give what you can to aid organizations trying to care for Palestinians during this difficult and sacred month. Free Palestine, free political prisoners being held unjustly for speaking against genocide, and free all oppressed peoples of the world. Now some fun announcements, shall we? This week, I'm so excited to have the premiere of Lori's House, a brand new actual play podcast series from Tender Vicious Studios. It is a Home We Remember actual play in which I had the absolute sincere pleasure of playing the architect in this new series with for our forthcoming game that we were playing. And it drops on Thursday, and you can follow Tender Vicious Studios. You can go to Tender Vicious. God, please tell me I sent you to the right website. I did. TenderVicious.com. I just put it in chat. You can also follow us on all social media platforms at Tender Vicious or Tender Vicious Studios, including here on Twitch. Lori's House is a labor of love. It is a story of community and home and storytelling and what it means to look inward to make your community better. And I just, it's been 2 years in the making and I can't believe it's about to be released this week. So go check that out on Thursday. It will actually be out before I stream on Thursday. So you will be able to listen to the whole first episode. And then we have episodes coming out bi-weekly. So not next week, but the following week, because I know how things work. The podcast will the podcast release be on the website come Wednesday? It will be on your podcasting platforms. So my best suggestion would be to go to Thursday. I knew what you meant. My best suggestion would be to go to our feed right here, link in chat. And check that out there. Other events this week. I will be at WonderCon this week. WonderCon is at the Anaheim Convention Center here in Los Angeles. It's technically in Orange County. Don't get me started. It's in California, next to Disneyland. And I will also be living a decades-long dream at this point of being a panelist on 2 panels at WonderCon. So you can come to WonderCon on Saturday, March 29th, and I will be on a panel, Roll for Initiative, TTRPG Content Creators Combating Imposter Syndrome and Burnout, at noon in North 151, which is the room number. And I am so excited to be on this panel with Jess Wade, Just the Human, moderating. And then my other panelists on this panel with me are Mayana Barron from StoryQuest, Wandering Path, New York by Night. She's a writer, performer. You've seen her on Pixel Circus, everywhere in between. Brooke Eiler, who is one of the main runners on Table Runners, is also an actress and cosplayer. You've seen her work on the internet, I can almost guarantee you. Johnny Stanton, creator, sync, performer, and our affectionate TTRPG sport guy, used to be a professional football player, and Alex Wright of StoryQuest, a friend, a master mini maker, and a nerdy hobby hoarder. And I would say that to his face. I probably have. And then in the evening, I will be on a panel called Exploring Identity Through Character Creation in TTRPGs. That is at 6:30 in 213 AB. And that panel has a lot of the same people: Jess Wade, Mayanna Barron, Johnny Stanton, and we're adding to our collection the incredible singular Darby Park. I know how to use words. Darby Park, who is a performer and professional game menace. If you've seen her on the internet, I know I have. And me, I'll be on both of them. And so yeah, that's Saturday, and I'll just be running around the con all weekend. Say hi if you see me. And probably buying dice. Don't judge me. I will buy dice. Okay, so those are all the announcements for now. Let's get into it. So I wanted to do this not only because that suggestion hits right to my weak spot of making clothing look dirty, but also because I think dirt is one of the best storytellers. Aged clothing, worn, loved clothing, patched, mended in any shape or form. I think aged clothes are the true storytellers of costuming. So I am so tickled to go over this with you. We're also going to talk about how to clean clothing, costumes, and makeup. If you've ever seen me threaten people on social media, we will be talking about cleaning your makeup tools. You should do it if you own any makeup tools whatsoever. And then the last thing will be how to make things dirty in a safe and sustainable way. This jacket has been dirty for 6 years, and I think it has actually been dry cleaned since then. At least a few times. So yeah, we're gonna talk about that. So starting with dirty clothing and dirt as storytelling. So I thought it'd be really fun to bring some of my favorite. I love doing dirty makeup. It's a passion of mine, I guess. And when you make something dirty, or when you look at something that's dirty, there is a story there. When things are made, they're not made dirty. And so some outside force, some event, some person, something has altered them. And that is a story. What does it mean for something to age or get dirty? Is one of the questions I have on my lovely outline here. And one of my favorite things about it is that we crave newness. Like, people buy new with tag garments on the internet. People shop for new clothes, obviously. And newness means that our story is the only story on that garment, on that thing. And while that's fine, I find that my favorite garments, the things that I wear all the time, the things that really are a part of me and my story, all have imperfections in them, because we are all imperfect, right? And a lot of those imperfections tend to be, oops, I sat on something here and I poked a hole in this, or I dropped food at this one really good dinner. Oh my gosh, Aaron, stop it. I'm sure that you could think of 1,000 dirty garments, every single one of you in chat. And whether that is dirty from one wear or dirty from a lifetime, dirty clothing tells a story. And sometimes we don't want our clothing to have stains. Very often, unfortunately, we do live in a world where we value wealth, and sometimes that surfaces itself as certain kinds of clothing, newness of clothing, cleanliness of clothing, as a form of status. But also, like, not all dirty clothing is unsanitary. Not all dirty clothing that looks dirty is actually dirty at all. Some of my favorite designer pieces are like completely disheveled looking sweaters. Shout out to Rick Owens. And so dirt is in itself, and the breakdown and eventual decay of garments is a story. one of the things that I love doing is putting permanent marks in garments and things and like beloved items that characters carry in TTRPGs in the same way that I love scars, because it all is the same thing to me. It is just another earned piece of that story. And to that end, on the practical side, you should wash your clothes. This is not me advocating for you to never wash your clothes. You should wash your clothes for like medical reasons, because clothing is gross in reality. As a person who used to professionally clean clothing, clothing gets gross real fast. We humans, we not only do we constantly shed hair, we constantly shed skin, we sweat, we have oils that we like to put in things. And I'm going to talk a little bit about how to clean some of that, but also then fictionally distressing garments to give them that quality. Say you're in an apocalypse, like what this jacket was made for, or you're, trying to describe a character that's been traveling for years that has never stopped moving. We're going to talk about what that looks like and how to safely do it in the real world a little bit, and how the movie magic / costume magic happens with that. So yeah, buckle up. We're going all the way into all kinds of dirty clothes. A little bit about the story that I decided to put in my head, so that you can kind of see what I mean. This jacket is a beloved cosplay piece of mine. It is my photo perfect replication of Bellamy Blake from the Hundreds jacket, including the original base jacket that they used, distressed with all the same patches and everything. I love this jacket. I use it for everything. I spent a lot of time on it. It was some people knit, and I make really elaborate reproduction cosplay pieces. So that's the story of the jacket, but I thought today I would wear some fun, like, beloved broken down garments. This is a shirt that I've owned for years. It's full of holes and is all worn out. Like, there's no label on this shirt anymore. All the tags have come out. I don't know whoever made this shirt. I bought it used, and it's one of my favorite shirts, and it's just able to be worn for pajamas these days. And then for the makeup, the thing I was thinking was I wanted to look like I got in a fight and got my head shoved in the dirt, and like muddy dirt. So I did some mud, like I wiped it off my eyes so you can see there's like wipe marks and things. And then of course real mud is drippy, so I had to make it drippy. And all of that, for those of you who want to know, is done through my Maron Paradise palettes. I only used brown and black to make these, I think. That sounds right. I don't think I used white or olive. I have those two. And then I just put water on it because the water activated makeup in the first place. So yeah, let's talk about cleaning clothes. If at any point in time you have a question, you want to talk about, a specific kind of how to tell a story, or how distressing a garment works, or how to clean a specific garment, drop that in chat. Let's go. Oh, it's a holy garment. Okay, you're right, but wah, wah. I love a bad joke. Please keep telling bad jokes in my chat. So we're gonna talk about laundering, because you might know how to launder clothes, but you don't know until you've laundered like multiple theatrical productions of clothing, and boy, you learn some stuff about clothes. I always wear the prideful badge of I have cleaned every kind of dirty garment you can imagine, all the way from medical incidents down to just like clothing that was in a pile outside for years. I can clean it. Oh my gosh, Indie Wanderer. Oh, you're so sweet. Yes, I am great. This is all makeup. Listen, I don't know if you're aware, but I usually play people who I love making them messy. Or if I play a clean character, if someone is prim and proper, I will be making them dirty, disheveled, destroying their clothes. I love that. So yeah, let's talk about cleaning stuff. Cleaning laundry has so many, how do I put this? There are so many ways to clean clothing, including that there's so many ways to deem a garment as dirty. And so there's just your normal, like, oh, I've worn this clothing, I've sweat into it for a day, I should wash it. Again, as I was saying at the top, our body puts our oils into our clothes, and it is for the communal good. I think that we do regularly launder our clothing if that is something available to you. I'm not going to tell you how to use a washing machine. There are so many places that can tell you how to do that. What I will be talking about is how to separate your clothes, what kind of detergents that you should look to, and how to clean certain kinds of clothing, because laundry instructions on garments are only guidelines. This is pirate territory, baby. Most laundry instructions on garments that you buy that are mass-produced are made for the simplest cleaning process. And they are made with in mind what the garment is made of. And so, like, I shouldn't put this jacket in a laundry machine, not because it's immaculate and nothing could ever happen to it, but because there's like 15 kinds of fabric, and I know some of them cannot go into a washing machine. Puck wants to see dice. I will show you dice. Okay, let's see here. I gotta pick some. I'm gonna show you today. Ooh, these ones. So these dice I treasure. I don't know if you can see the beautiful detail. It's a set of D6s that have little sigils. Mr. Valiant Dorian. These dice I bought for the first time I ever played Urban Shadows. And I was playing a wizard, so I was like, let's get some arcane dice. And these are so cool because they're D6 blanks that were then I think the people who made these had like an engraving barrier on them, and they just engraved into blanks these shapes and then painted them. And unfortunately the company was a couple, and one of them passed away, so they no longer make these. So I treasure them dearly, and they're also just so beautiful, and everywhere I take them, they're probably one of my favorite non-sharp edge sets. And I have another set from them too of ice dice that I really like. But yeah, Cloud Top Creations was the company that made these. Love them so much. Thanks for the redeem. Anyways, you can use those redemptions at any point in time. Again, I shut off the funny accent one for Seems Right because I'm talking about technical things that people might actually want to understand the words I'm saying and not just me rambling about a cat game. Not that that's not also important. But please enjoy those points. At the end of the month, they are going to go up on some of these higher redeems, but in the meantime, enjoy them at this level. Okay, so laundry instructions, kind of guidelines, because the people who make them are thinking of how very, very standard laundry is done in a home with a washing machine. They do not consider things like how hard and I think very limiting it is to do things like hand washing. So I do recommend, thank you, Patrick. I will actually hydrate with water, even though I have a lovely glass of cola next to me. They do not keep in mind things that I think are like kind of preventative. So you should be checking your garments, especially if you have limited energy or limited time, because hand washing is evil. As a person who's done a lot of it, it takes a lot of time. At the beginning of lockdown here in LA, and actually even before, I live in a building with public washers, and I did not have my own available to me, so I hand washed my clothes for 6 months, like a frontiersman, and it was hard, and I don't like it. It involves a lot of wringing. For a lot of people, it involves like specifically using like your bathtub which could also be very preventative if you don't have a bathtub. Sinks are not big enough. So just one of my biggest recommendations if you are thinking about like laundry care from this is hand wash clothing. Just keep an eye out for it. Hard. And for hand washing, it's not hard. You literally like put soap in water and agitate, because laundry soap is actually made to unbond your body chemicals from your clothes. So if you're not doing anything super hard, the soap will do a lot of the work for you so long as you agitate it. But I personally, I find hand wash clothing to be a bit ableist. Personally, because laundry is also an accessibility thing. To that end, if you have the energy to separate your things made of elastic, this includes undergarments, if you wear dance wear, athletic wear, any of that stuff should be washed by themselves. It degrades. Laundry detergent degrades elastic. So something to keep in mind. Like, this is why if you have ever had to wash a bra, not only are a lot of bras covered in lace, which is a whole other problem, a lot of bras also have a lot of elastic in them. And Puck is in here also talking about a cosplay with fake blood. Fake blood is very staining, which I will talk about a little later. Stains, and real blood is also deeply staining. And so I'll talk a little bit about that. I talked about detergents, talked about separating your laundry. Oh, and the colors thing. And we're going to talk about how clothing gets dyed really quick. So for those of you who have any interest in how clothing is made, there are so many ways that clothing is colored, like through solid colors, through prints, all of that stuff, that my general rules of thumb are if it has silk screening. So this is like a t-shirt with a t-shirt print on it, especially one that's multicolored, like it looks like it was printed on a printer. You should always wash that inside out, and you should never wash it above warm, because they're actually not made to sustain outside of that, because anything that is applied with heat, which would be silk screening, or vinyl printing, which is the case of like a lot of print to order shirts, not the one from Transplanter RPG. The silk screening ones, all of that stuff is applied with heat, and so it can be removed with heat. And that's a general rule with laundry in general, is if it's applied with that thing, it can be removed with that thing. So this is also dyes. Dyes tend to be vinegar based, and because our body produces similar things, our bodies can remove dye. So this is, I'm getting very in the weeds, but like, basically, one of the things to think about when you're doing laundry that is not written on the tag, is if it's printed, never wash it really hot, and if it's like a woven in print, or like a cotton with a repeat print that isn't silk screened on, chances are that is going to be one of the hardest garments to stain, and will probably never bleed in your laundry because of the way that color printing works in fabric. Anyways, I can go on about that forever. But let's talk about stains. People are talking about stains in chat. I'm right there with you. Hi, Quinn. Oh my God. Hello and welcome. Hope you had a nice, I think you were doing like a co-working stream, right? We're talking about dirty laundry. Oh yeah, that's what everyone wants to talk about. Come on, Twitch, talk about how to do laundry. So stains. Yes, Puck, I will be reposting these to YouTube eventually. Please go enjoy your game. I will, also the VOD will be available on Twitch for a while. Stains. We were already talking about blood, so let's get into it. I have the strangest solvent ever for you. that does work, to the point where I've worked in costume shops where this question was asked genuinely and not creepily, which is, if you bleed on a garment, or if you find blood on a garment, the best solvent to help remove the blood is the person whose blood it is spit. It just works. It helps take out the blood. Apparently, that's just how we're built. Biology is very strange, but specifically, my blood can be removed with my spit. Your blood can be removed with your spit. And it's truly a very funny thing that it works better than a lot of mass-produced solvents even. And you can do both. Like, you can spit on it, let that kind of work its magic, and then use something like OxyClean, which is my favorite go-to. But yeah, it's the best remover for blood is your own spit. Other interesting removal techniques largely involve things like irons. So if you have something like wax or something gummy, a heated pressing cloth, so this would be like a towel, and then an iron to kind of apply the heat on both sides of it, will actually help melt things out of fabrics. Aaron, you have to collect. Yeah, I mean, yes, Aaron is now planning a murder, everyone. I'm joking for legal reasons. What was the other one I was gonna say? That's a really wild. Oh, if you ever stain anything with ink, like literally ever, the best remover of ink, almost any. I say this as a fountain pen collector as well. There's some inks that this doesn't work with, but like Sharpie, most like ballpoint, gel pens, all of that is rubbing alcohol. Isopropylene alcohol is the best remover of ink. Because like I said before, if it's how it gets into the garment, it's how it gets out. And one of the ways that inks are made is through rubbing alcohol. So when I worked at a particular theme park that had a lot of Sharpies, because signatures are part of the culture with the characters that wore the gloves, the way we removed it was rubbing alcohol. And it works shockingly well. And this also works on other surfaces. If you get ink on a surface that can safely be rubbed with rubbing alcohol, it will remove the ink, so long as it has something to absorb the ink into. Oh, Val. Yeah, rubbing alcohol, friend. Also, true story. Most play mats, most desk mats, oversized, if it's just bonded neoprene, you could probably put that in the washer as well. That's one of my favorite things about desk mats, is that you can have a really nice desk, have a really pretty desk mat, and then if something gets on it, you can just throw it in the wash because neoprene is washable. You just have to let it air dry. Do not put that in the dryer. It will unbond, and then you'll be mad at me. Yeah, so if you got any other weird stains, I've, again, just like handling, again, I worked at a theme park. I've handled everything. I've handled every kind of messy garment you can imagine, including ones that are contaminated with things that you don't want to know about. And I've dealt with stains of practically every stripe. It is very rare that I will find a garment and go, this stain, I can't help it. Yeah, you heard it here. Throw your soft neoprene mouse pads in the wash. If they are fabricy, I wish I had one that isn't buried under an ocean of stuff. Maybe I'll come back with one later, but like playmat style mouse pads, so long as they don't have extra like padding, there's ones that have the built-in wrist rest, you can throw that in the washer. Okay, so let's talk about some harder to clean and unusual items like mouse pads. One of the things to always keep in mind when you're cleaning things is, what is it made of? You're gonna hear me. Yes, I've gotten Val live here on Twitch. One of the most important things if you want to learn anything about removing stains is know how to identify what things are made of, and especially if they have a paint on them or a finish. So Dice, for example. Sometimes you drop your dice in places you don't want them to be, and that's very sad. Do not clean these with rubbing alcohol, because the surface of them might be treated, let alone the numbers themselves. This is how you de-ink dice, is rubbing alcohol or paint thinner. So don't clean them with rubbing alcohol. I know that's probably not a hazard you're going to run into, but I sure would. Yes, I am so happy for the ink. Yeah, they're so funny. Simple cleanliness tips is like disinfectant wipes do work. There's also great stuff like hypochlorous acid. That's like a one and done set it and forget it cleaner. There's also all kinds of wonderful industrial grade cleaning sprays, especially since 2020. For obvious reasons, people have gotten a lot better about cleaning solvents that make sure, especially if you're cleaning them for things that are going to go on or near your face or you're going to touch a lot, don't have perfumes in them. Don't have any of that stuff, because it's not just perfumes. Perfumes mean that there's secret chemicals in there that you don't want in your skin as a person who's allergic to everything. Yeah, that's my big costume cleaning section. But please, by all means, if you find anything. Oh yes, rubbing alcohol cleans keycaps very well as well. But a word of warning: if you have keycaps like mine that have light pass through, it means that there's actually a paint finish on your keycaps, and it could actually accidentally remove the paint finish. But most keycaps, the solid kind, those are great. Rubbing alcohol is perfect for that. And this also goes for so if you have like stuff covered in stickers, or you have a sticker somewhere that you don't want it to be, rubbing alcohol is great at removing that. Also oil, you can use like even just baby oil to remove gummy texture of like stickers and that kind of stuff. And you can also remove use the sticky solvent Goo Gone. Word of warning about Goo Gone though is that the oil in Goo Gone is staining and will stain anything that it can absorb into forever. Oh my gosh, Flynn, I'm so sorry. You and 1,000 other people that I know. One of these days, I'm just gonna make a YouTube video of how to do laundry. And I will think of you when I make it. I know so many people. I've taught so many people how to do laundry. I used to teach costume dressers and costume crews for theater how to do laundry, and it was shocking how many of them did not know how to do laundry. My last parting piece of advice slash kind of my accessibility rant, which is I've already started it, which is perfumes are bad for everybody. They're bad for you. They're bad for your clothes. And eventually you will become allergic to parfum, which is the fake perfume base in most industrially scented things. So my best recommendation for laundry detergents is anything that says that it's hypoallergenic means it does not have perfumes in it. And dryer balls are your friend, because laundry softener is like putting lotion on something, but putting it on every single time you wash it. And over time, that stuff does gunk up on your clothes. Oh, my last two strange solvents. I was like, there's more strange solvents. What are they? We humans, as I've said before, like to put our bodies into our clothes, and you'll notice that t-shirts and especially like white garments in general over time get yellowed armpits, and that is fixable. It's cleanable. You can just soak them in one of two things, vinegar, or, and I'm not joking, my second most favorite solvent on earth besides OxyClean is cheap vodka. Cheap vodka is the greatest cleaner for garments in the history of time. Cheap vodka will clean furs. It's great for cleaning armpits in dry clean only garments. It is excellent at removing pit stains. Cheap, like a $6 bottle of really, really like bottom shelf below the well vodka is one of the greatest solvents you'll ever get. And it's really good if you want to remove any like bad kind of mildewy smells from your washer as well. You can do a load to just clean it with vodka. Um, not for drinking. No, gross. Yeah. Yeah, no, Milo, you can also start with vinegar. Start with white vinegar. And if and when a time comes that you feel like you can have vodka in your life, then try the vodka. But also, white vinegar goes a long way. White vinegar is also one of the best solvents on earth. Okay, let's talk about makeup. So the other thing that you'll see me tell people to do all the time, and I'm going to try and make this short, but I have a big soapbox to get on about it, which is clean your makeup tools. Clean them. I do a lot of this. Guess what? I also do a lot of cleaning of my makeup tools. As I said in the makeup stream, you'll almost never see me on the internet without makeup, not because I think my face has any problems with it, but because I don't like how my camera picks up my skin without makeup on it. So I wear makeup all the time because you'll notice I'm on the internet pretty regularly. So whether you are wearing makeup for daily use, or maybe you only wear makeup like once every couple months, clean your makeup tools is one of the easiest ways to get eye infections, skin conditions, is not cleaning your tools. The simple answer is if you use brushes, they make all kinds of brush cleaners. There's quick ones that you can use if you're like using multiple makeup types that are just spray on, you wipe them off and you put it away. My favorite thing to do though is every couple of weeks, I will get brush cleaner, a liquid brush cleaner. Yes, see Val, you're hearing it again for the 90th time. Clean your makeup tools because I love you. You take brush cleaner, which is usually like looks like hand soap, honestly, but don't buy hand soap, buy brush cleaner. And you can also use Castillo soap to do this. And you wet the brush head. They actually make like textured silicone brush cleaning surfaces. But honestly, just to start, if you don't have the time or energy to invest in that, just the brush cleaning soap and then like rolling your brush around a little bit and then rinsing it off, you'll be amazed how clean your brushes are, and it's really good for your skin and it's better for your makeup and the longevity of the brush. So you should always be cleaning your brushes. I barely go like 3 weeks without cleaning my brushes. And then the only downside is you do need a place to let them sit and dry, but it's better that than getting an infection or some kind of dermatitis reaction or whatever because you haven't cleaned your brushes. And especially if you have stuff that goes near your eyes, you should be cleaning that extremely regularly. One of my dear friends, her dad is an eye doctor, and so anytime anything comes up about eyes, you better be cleaning that regularly. If you have mascara, in general, you shouldn't share makeup, but if you have mascara in particular, you should be very protective of where the mascara wand goes, how long you leave it open, if it's sat in the sun too long, etc. Because mascara goes directly, anything that you put in like a quarter inch around your eye will inevitably end up in your eye. So clean is the only way to go. Otherwise, you're inviting all kinds of problems. And the other thing, while I'm talking about eyes, contacts, makeup contacts, cosplay contacts, they're great. They look really cool. They're very expensive if you get good ones. Don't put them in your eyes unless you have a prescription for them. And don't buy cheap ones and know that they all expire. Some of my favorite looks that I've ever seen in cosplay, in movies, etc. involve really cool contacts. And contacts are rad, but they do expire. They do require the same amount of care as regular prescription contacts, even if you do not need a prescription. And keep them clean, because you're putting stuff in your eyes. And no amount of costuming is worth getting an eye infection, as a person who has come very close to that for this very reason. Clean your makeup tools. And also just keep in mind, all makeup goes bad. All of it. All makeup goes bad eventually. If you look at your makeup and you go, this looks separated, don't use it. If you've had that mascara for like a year, get rid of it. If you've had that eyeliner for over a year, get rid of it. Hello, Transplanter RPG, my beloved. Welcome to me telling people to clean their makeup tools for the 90th time. But everyone here, I know you're all cleaning your makeup tools, right? Here's your friendly reminder because I love you, not because I'm judging you. I just don't want you to get anything in your eye. Okay. that's makeup cleaning. So much makeup cleaning, so much clothing cleaning. And all of that, to be very clear for all of you, is because I want you to be able to tell the best stories. So now you have all this information, oodles of information. And how people clean their clothes is part of storytelling. The stains that are on their clothes is part of storytelling. If someone has really clean clothes, now you know all of these pieces go into having really clean clothes. These are the things that I think about, and why sometimes I'm like, yeah, no, my character's just gross. I don't know. They don't wash their clothes. Like, I think cartoon logic is funny. Oh my gosh. Puck's being nice to me, everybody. I love cartoon logic in costumes for characters, because it's one of those, like, either you have a closet full of the same garment, or you never change clothes, and either you wash your clothes and you have one secret other outfit, looking at you, Baldur's Gate, or you wash your clothes by some other method. I've seen in science fiction, like, there's freshers in Star Wars that are literally waterless showers that I guess in theory would also clean your clothes. I've seen a lot of variations from, like, Old West stuff of people cleaning their clothes by going swimming. There's really funny answers to cleaning your clothes that aren't necessarily clean all the time, but some of them are, and some of it's really funny. And the same thing goes for makeup. And a lot of the makeup stuff is just because I want you to tell good stories without making yourself sick. Yeah. Look at all these wonderful people. Everyone's being so nice in chat and saying hello to everybody. You guys are all the best. So yeah, that's the cleaning stuff. When we come back from the break, we're going to talk about making things purposefully dirty, like this jacket, and some tools that I have on my desk in front of me that I keep touching because I fidget with things. That will also, all this other stuff will also be helpful with that, because sometimes you use what you can use to remove stuff to also make it look cooler. Because you can take a painted surface and remove some of the paint. And you can take a garment and wash it wrong, or wash it funny. I think bleach is just washing garments wrong for fun. I'm bad at bleaching things. There's some things that I'm going to talk about I'm really bad at. I'm not great at dyeing clothes. I will be the first to admit, like, dye and I have a very tenuous relationship. I will talk about dyeing, but it's dye is a science, and I've met some of the best people in the world at it, so I'm always like, I'm not that guy. But yeah, if anyone's got any questions, we're probably gonna go on break in a second, and have a nice cat petting session, and I hope all of you go pet any pets that are available to you, get some snacks. Oh my gosh. Show me your dye. Ha ha ha. That's funny. I actually have a ridiculous amount of dye. I have dice. I have dye. I have so many things that all sound like the same thing. But yeah. Flynn, show us a cat. My sons have abandoned me. They've been so clingy all day, so I'm gonna have to show you a picture of a cat. But that's okay, because I am prepared for this exact moment. 1 second. I'm here to show you a cat. Oh, this is a good one. I'm a big fan of these ones. Okay, let's switch screens, shall we? Everyone, look at my son. Look at his goofy little face. I have a security camera that I use to check on my cats when I'm away. This is Rigby. He's extremely curious about said security cameras, and he always looks like a specter haunting my house, but because he's so cute. Is he? Is he a specter, or is he just a baby? Rigby's a sweet baby angel. Yeah. And it's funny because this is infrared camera, so what you're seeing is actually, like, his eyes just always look like that. It doesn't matter what his pupils look like, because cats are funny like that. Look at this perfect angel. So yeah, thanks for that, Redeem. I always love showing pictures of my cats. Oh, baby. And with that, we're going to go on a little break. So I'm going to go pet that guy in that picture and maybe get more water. And I'll see you all in about 10 minutes. Thanks for hanging out. See you in a bit. Hello, everyone. Welcome back from the break. I hope you all got something to snack on, something to drink some water, took care of your body. Hopefully had a pet to pet. And if you did, hope you gave them extra kisses from me. Welcome back. Today on Seems Right, we're talking about dirty laundry and the way it tells stories and how to tell stories with it. We are going to move into talking about one of the very first suggested topics submitted to the channel, which is how to make clothing look distressed. It's something that I specialize in. There are people, this is their whole career. I have multiple friends that this is what they do for a living. And I just love it. I actually think it's one of my favorite parts of costuming is making things look dirty and lived in and loved. And yeah, we're gonna get into it. Again, by all means, if anything, you want to learn more about anything that I'm talking about today, including how to launder clothes, stain removal, makeup tool cleaning, and then now we're going into breakdown and how to do that stuff. And now I'm going to be talking about methods to make things look dirty and how to sustainably do this as a thing you do in life, which I will always try and bring everything back to how to do costumes sustainably. So first and foremost, when making things look dirty, when you're painting dirt on your face, tell a story with it. Make sure that you have a logic or a reason for something. One of my favorite things to do is look at especially people's jeans, and I'm sure that if you've owned denim literally ever, this happens to you, that denim wears in very specific places where there's frequent friction, or maybe it's a place that is folded and the color is different. But fabric over time develops creases, wear spots, discoloration, just from wear and tear. And that is the story of that garment. Garments don't have to be muddy or dusty to be distressed. It's the proper term is distressing or breakdown. Aaron, we're all a little breaking down and distressed. Yeah, but this is actually one of the most relaxing things in the world to me. Thanks for the follow, Dave. Kadave, the one, the only. The way that you break down a garment is telling the life and the story of the wearer or wearers of that garment. Hi, Erica. Welcome in. We're talking about breaking down garments. And so when you think about your favorite pair of jeans or your denim jacket, the places where it wears out are I have a denim jacket that I wear often. That's my pin jacket, and I always have the sleeves rolled up. So there's this one spot on the cuffs that is practically threadbare. Only right there though, because I've left it rolled for so long, and even when I unroll it and re-roll it, it re-rolls back in that same position. And so there's this wear spot right where my arm brushes my side. And that is, I can tell you why that wear spot is there just from looking at it. And there is a comparable one on the hem of the jacket in the same place because I walk with my arms at my sides. With pants, this is why thigh shred happens on pants, which is a tragedy. And it's also why cuffs get so destroyed, especially on denim. Is because when you walk, hey, guess what? Most humans don't have thigh gaps, so your legs touch each other, which means the fabric touches each other, which means that over time, that fabric wears down. It's not a value judgment, and even if you are fat, hey, guess what? Your pants worn out that way? Beautiful. no notes. That's just part of the story. Unfortunately, it does mean that your pants do degrade in that spot, and most humans' pants, including mine, regularly degrade in that spot. And that's just how it works. And so these are just like day-to-day examples of breakdown that you can fake. You can do it for real. And actually, a lot of my favorite broken down garments are ones that I've bought secondhand or ones that I've owned for a long time, and I have repurposed them or are using them in that moment for that purpose. So this shirt I bought from a Goodwill. As I said before, I don't know what company made it. It was clearly industrially manufactured. If I had to guess, it's from like LL Bean. Let's see here. Oh my God, Flynn, I don't know how to add this message. Oh, yeah. I can't repost it, but Flynn had a really good comment about inspecting their clothes. The thing about this shirt is that I got it threadbare, and I wanted it to be threadbare because originally I purchased it to be First Avenger Bucky from the movies, and his shirt is gross, and it's tattered, and it's this cool old style undershirt, just like this shirt is. And if I had to guess, it's probably like from a hunting catalog. It's like a Cabela's shirt. That I found at Goodwill, and I have worn it for years because it's real comfy. Whereas this jacket I bought new with the intention of turning it into this, and the way I make it sustainable is I wear this jacket all the time, actually. I know it's like really shredded and gross looking. Like, I'm gonna move my mic so you can all see it, but yeah, I was talking, but you didn't hear it because I muted myself because I'm smart because I moved my microphone. But this jacket's real scuffed up. And like the white on the back is permanent, if you saw that. Yeah, this is what we're going to talk about. So, first of all, now that I've talked to you about how to clean clothes, we're going to talk about how you can use that same knowledge against the garments. So most methods of breakdown, the breakdown of garments can be accomplished through altering the color, adding any kind of like texture, or actively distressing the actual fabric. So the first one I'm going to talk about is color, which can be achieved through dyeing, makeup, paint. On occasion, there's a tool called sublimation that I'll talk a little bit about. So the first one we're going to talk about is the thing I'm bad at, which is dyeing. And all of these, I encourage experimentation and looking at reference pictures. So actually, before I get into that stuff, I'm going to show you how we're going to do a little bit of live research right here and now. So I love primary source material. So one of my favorite places as a costume historian and researcher is Getty Images, because even though the pictures are not free to download and use, they are free to look at. And all I need to do is look at them. So we're going to look at the Dust Bowl on Getty Images, because lo and behold, look at this. People in the Dust Bowl wearing clothes. So this is a really famous series of photos that this woman, can't remember her name. Oh my gosh, my head has gone full empty. Traveled through Texas and the South during the Dust Bowl and photographed families who were fleeing the Dust Bowl. And so the photos have this, very worn, very real texture to them. And some of these are just like proof that we've survived, and how we got here and what it looks like. So these pictures, you can see there's this one that I go back to regularly as a picture that's just stuck with me my whole life. And Florence Owens Thompson is her name. Is this woman's name, not the photographer. And you can see that her dress is a knit that has degraded here along the seam. You can see her child has a patch in their jacket. And so this is like real things you can go and look at and say like, okay, so this is what it looks like when things... Dorothea Lange, thank you, Dave. Dorothea Lange is the name of the photographer, and is why we have some of the most incredible documentation of what happened during the Dust Bowl, and took just some breathtakingly beautiful and devastating photos. But they're very good for research, and the breakdown of these garments is, they're old, they've survived a lot of for the garment alone, let alone the people, they've survived moments of trauma and distress. And so you can go and see like those holes here. Oh, for my lovely non-US people, the American Dust Bowl was a time of great drought and basically a conflation of problems that caused a massive destruction of farmland. It's actually one of the touchpoint inspirations for Zain and Esha from Transplanter RPG, because I actually had family that survived the Dust Bowl. And so you can use photos like this as research. So when I'm distressing, say, a knit dress, which this is, I can go, oh, okay, so the knit decayed this way, and I wonder why and how I can then achieve that. This is not to advocate going and looking at, crime scene photos and things like that for your mental health, among other reasons, because sometimes those are very exploitative. But these photos are like, this is it, man. This is the Dust Bowl. Like this guy, look at this guy. Sharecropper. So a guy who literally just travels around trying to earn money to get by, and his shirt has all of these mended holes in it. I don't know how well you can see it through Twitch, but this is the kind of stuff that, as a costumer and a person who's doing storytelling through clothing, either through art, through my words, or through actual physical costumes, this is the stuff I look at. When I was designing Zainin, the first pass, this is stuff that's in all of my reference boards and things like that, because this is what real reused, repurposed, repaired garments look like. Yeah, a little bit of live costume research, a little bit of history. So like this is a farm that survived, quote unquote, the Dust Bowl. Yeah, cool. All right, back to the fun stuff. Let's talk about breaking down costumes. So using that information, yes, the Dust Bowl was in fact caused by colonial farming practices, and also massive market problems that also caused no money to go to people who needed it. Real bad, dark moment in American history. But very good for research and very informative. And yep, see, Erica, you get me now. You see where my brain's at. Erica's also referencing Shiko embroidery, which is the Japanese tradition of embroidery that also repairs garments, traditionally done on Japanese indigo. It is a form of embroidery that also repairs garments, which is another thing that you can do to add color and texture to garments. And there's actually kind of shades of that in this jacket. It's not actual embroidery like that, but there's textured embroidery in the jacket that is part of the way that they broke it down for the show that I then replicated. Yeah, so dyes. So say you want to do something that looks old. So again, talking about cotton just ages yellow. It just does that. It's not cotton does that. And so if you wanted to make something look a little older, like maybe it's seen the sun too long or something like that, you can dye it. I'm not the greatest dyer, but you can dye it. I think that's pretty straightforward. You get dye. There are ways to machine wash dye, but don't do it. It's just not a good idea. You don't have a lot of control, and you permanently stain your washer. But what you can do is use a dye bucket. Never mix dye with anything that you would want to eat out of, but you can just do it on a stove. It's just hot water, soak in it, follow instructions. I'm not a professional dyer. You should look up people who are good at doing that. It's not me. Other great things you can use. Thanks, Indie Wanderer. Yes, and Erica's talking about juice and acids. You can also use there's a bunch of really like fascinating and interesting ways to stain and permanently dye garments, including things like leaves. You can use leaves because that's all dye is. Dye comes from nature, so you can use like natural things as well. Tea is a very common staining process that people use, or it's literally called tea staining. You can also coffee stain things. You can also do that with paper. So that's that's dyeing. DY. This is not helpful. I'm also bad at spelling. Homonyms are weird. Look into dyeing. There's a lot of ways to dye things to make them look older. You can also add things like makeup. So like this makeup on me can also go on garments and be washed out. It's just a water-soluble makeup, so there's no reason why it can't just wash off your clothes as well. There's also makeup blood that we were talking about earlier, which again, be warned, it does stain. There's makeup dirt, which is the dirt you should use if you're putting dirt on your body. While it's a cool story, I always cringe every time I hear the story of Charlize Theron in Mad Max Fury Road, because she would literally just, in full costume as Furiosa, go out in the desert and lay in the dirt. You don't know where that dirt's been. You don't know what's in it. As a person who's been attacked by things in dirt, that makes me very nervous. They make makeup dirt. They make makeup dust. They make makeup that does all of these things. There's things like what's it called? There's a like things that look like deodorant essentially, but it smears on mud onto clothing, onto props. That's what they use in film and TV. There's also things called pounce bags, which are the same idea as like if you've ever seen a gymnast chalk their hands, but it's makeup dust. You can just use chalk. So that's makeup, and most of that is one use and done. It's, it's often going to be wet, or it'll be dusty, and it will come off after that use, or even over time if you leave it on. That's a one and done. If you want something to be more permanent, you can basically do the same thing with paint. There are ways to make paint textured that'll make it look like wet mud. The back of this jacket is all paint. Where is it? Yeah, all that white back there is all just paint. Yes. CA Sith Lord in chat, Dave is saying that he has a t-shirt somewhere that is horrifically stained from Evil Dead the Musical, which also hello, that had fake blood. That's awesome. But yeah, like if you think of like Carrie, that blood in those prom dresses are gonna be red. Those prom dresses are gonna be red forever, because unlike spit on real blood, fake blood is just red dye, and a lot of it. A lot of it. So it's very rare for it to actually come out. Yes, so Erica's also thinking about continuity. In film and TV, one of the things you always have to think about is, can you finish the shot or finish that take and then set the same day, the same moment up the next day and have it look the same? And for consistency, part of it is that the dust that they were filming in was very fine, and so it did look relatively even. But like doing this over and over again, I would have to take a photo of it, and it will never be exactly the same, but it will be close. But that's part of the reason why I love things like painting on specifically garments, because obviously you can't like permanently paint makeup onto someone's face, but you can paint onto garments. And in film and TV, what ends up happening is, for consistency, like this jacket, if there were like a nicer version of it that had less dirt or less dust on it, they would have a multiple and they would paint it onto this jacket. I know this because a friend of mine actually was the person who did this jacket for the show. And she told me all the secrets that they did do molds for this jacket, even though it was a very expensive jacket for them to have that many of, but that's fine. Yeah, larger detergent and red dye does mostly wash out. It only goes so far, though. The food dye. Don't use, obviously, red fabric dye. So yeah, that's the painting process. And one of the things that I'll always tell you is if you're ever going to paint on fabric, you should always look into something called textile medium. And what that means is essentially like acrylic is a medium. There's all kinds of like bases that you can put into paints that you can just add pigment into a medium and that makes it that paint. The same thing goes for like oil. You can take oil medium and put a pigment in it and it makes it that color oil paint. Textile medium, one of the cool things about it is that it's very thin. And so I actually, if you didn't know this, acrylic paint is technically a water-based paint, even though when it dries, it's pretty water resistant. And so what I tend to do for distressing, especially for things like mud, like if I want to do this on a garment, I would take brown paint and textile medium and then water it down and soak it into the garment and let it dry. Because then it looks like mud soaked into it because something did soak into it. Instead of reinventing the wheel of trying to figure out how to paint in something to look like water, you can just paint in water and make it look like water because it's water. With textile medium, yeah, textile medium is one of my favorite things ever to exist. Learn that in school. And you can just mix in any acrylic paint and paint it in. So this is the white on this has probably got acrylic, a textile medium in it. Okay, and then the one that I promised to talk about, which I'm just utterly fascinated by, is sublimation. So I worked for Disney Parks and Resorts for many, many years. And one of the things that you have to think about when you're doing things like not only film and TV, but more specifically like long-term wear on a costume. So at a theme park, that costume is hopefully going to be worn for years before it wears out. But then how do you make something look dirty for years? And so the solution that they came to, and I'm not talking out of turn, this is information that was available on the internet. Disney Parks and Resorts specifically owns, or at least owned, I don't know if they still do, a sublimation machine, which is the thing that if you buy like a t-shirt that is printed completely all over and it is not in the weave of the garment, it looks like someone literally like put a t-shirt through a printing machine, it's probably sublimated. And all that is a heat. It's a heat transfer process that heats the dye and puts it into the fibers of the garment. It's very complicated. Sublimation is extremely cool. But one of the things that Disney figured out is that you can sublimate stains. And so specifically the Pirates costumes for the Bootstrappers, which are a band that plays around the rivers of America, in California anyways, at Disneyland. And they have to look like grungy pirates who work and do pirate stuff. And so they figured out that you can actually digitally draw mud stains, print them using sublimation paper, and sublimate them onto the garment. And that way that, you know, with paint, eventually it'll wear off. But with sublimation, it is now a part of that fabric forever. And so there are ways to sublimate in permanent stains into garments. I just find it very fascinating. So that's a very, very high-end way to make something look dirty forever. All right, let's talk about the tools that I have on my table now, because I'm so excited. So, physically distressing. So that's like adding color. But a lot of what we're actually looking for when we look for clothing that's distressed is back to the beginning of this part, talking about like your denim jacket, your pants, that kind of stuff where the garment wears and tears. The best thing you can do if you would like to gather that effect is to just do that. So one of my favorite tools in Costume Breakdown is sandpaper. This is a sanding block. And if I am working on a garment that has a lot of breakdown, I will just sit and watch TV and sand it. I use pretty heavy grain, and then you can get down to very fine grain. It's just hardware store sandpaper. Buy sandpaper sheets, do whatever. But yeah, I just sand them. So this is one tool. This is the scary one. This thing, this wire monstrosity, is very good at pulling up fibers and creating small rips, like something has. Show us your dice, Puck. You're so good to me. Talk about this, and I'm going to show you dice. So this is, I think its original intention is to scuff up leather soles of shoes and to help with building shoes, because you have to texturize the leather. But it is also excellent at going to a garment and pulling up fibers, and you just scratch at it. So it's like evil sandpaper, essentially, because it's sandpaper made of a wire brush. And I'm going to show you some dice, because we got a great redeem, and I love showing off dice. Let's go into the Zynon tray. Yeah, it's a very scary thing. Ooh, okay. I've got this guy. So if you're going to play a neon cowboy who has a story about dust, you got to have neon dice that also have dust in them, right? This is the rule. I don't make the rules. So these are my Dispel neon dust dice. They actually do glow in the dark. I'm actually going to turn on the glow in the dark for a second. For those of you who have missed me glowing in the dark on Twitch, I have it on a switch at my desk. Let's see. Let's see if I can remember how to turn it on. It's been a minute. Oh, it's not connected. Never mind. I can't turn it on. But they do glow in the dark, I promise. I know. I've had this D20 the whole show. Never get to use it. I mostly just roll this. But I love this dice set because it is like neon green, and it also has these amazing dark swirls, and it actually has multicolor iridescent glitter in it as well. This is the first set of dice I ever bought for Zynon, and I love them. So yeah, dice time. Thanks for that. I have to put them away now, which is always the hard part because I have so many of them all fighting for position. There we go. Okay, I'll show you the scary scraper. What else is on my desk? I have this guy. So this is a wood burner. I saw, yeah, Erica was also talking about razors. What I actually use to distress is scissors. So I'll just take a pair of scissors, just a regular, these ones say paper because if you know people who work in costuming, you know that fabric scissors and paper scissors are not the same thing, even though they look the exact same. But I just take scissors and I distress them with scissors because the use of razor blades, while it does work, it's honestly, to me, it's too fine as well of a cut. If I want something to look like this used to be a very nice and beautifully made cuff, and I've done just grievous harm to it. I need it to be more violent than just a nice little cut. Oh, this is a fun question. I'll get to that in a second. So yeah, I use scissors for that, but the wood burner. So use this safely, use it sparingly. It gets very, very hot. And again, like everything I've said today, know what material you're working with. So maybe don't use this on polyester because burning plastic is bad for you in general. But it makes very good burn marks. It makes very neat holes. And if you are working with something like a nylon or a plastic, it does also self-seal the seam, because plastic, when you burn it, does seal the seam. But it's also why a lot of flame retardant garments are cotton, because if you are wearing plastic and fire happens, then the plastic melts onto you. Yeah. Let's see here. Erica is saying, yeah, if you're left-handed, which some people are, buy left-handed scissors. Sewing shears, regular scissors, left-handed scissors are great. And on top of it, if you work with a lot of other people who use scissors, they won't want to use yours if they're right-handed, which I think is neat. It's a way to say, these are my scissors, actually. As a person who's worked in a lot of costume shops, I'm very protective of my things. Everything that I own is labeled with my last name on it, including my little scraper. I've taken my equipment way too many places. But yeah, okay. Puck was asking, how did I get into costuming as a profession? I slipped and fell, honestly, as a jock who was just looking to tell stories, and was like, oh, I was a cosplayer, and then I went, people do this for a living? In college, like as basically an adult, I just realized that people do costuming for a living. Don't judge me. I'm pretty. It's fine. But I've been doing cosplay for years. And so yeah, I basically I started doing costuming in college, and the rest is history because I fell madly in love with it. And all of this is just part of the whole idea of me doing this channel and doing this show is because I have accumulated just a silly amount of knowledge just from being curious and wanting to do things and learn how to do things the right way, the wrong way, doesn't matter. And I have had to go and find mentors for most of the things that I am teaching you. Either that is through school or through finding organizations that specialize in the thing that I'm, trying to learn and making them teach me. Because the resources just weren't there. And so I believe in the sharing of knowledge. And this is my way of giving it to all of you, which is why I'm always like, yeah, ask me questions. Let's go. But yeah, I started cosplaying and then tripped and fell in college into costuming as a profession. And then out of college, went and worked for Disney Parks and Resorts for years. And worked on a bunch of stuff there and had a really good time. Yeah, let's see. Also, as a tip, dressing other people is different than making costumes for other people. I will dress other people, but the moment you make me make a costume for another person, I'm like, that's a lot of work. I've done very select, things where I am making costume for other people. My preference, if I'm doing anything outside of just like pulling a garment off a rack and putting it onto a person, very often I want it to be in a structured environment where I cannot get I've been in some sticky situations where I've been thrown under buses, and I just, as a very visibly queer person of color, that just doesn't always go well for me. So I've enjoyed my time as a freelancer, not dressing people. Oh yeah, me too. Trip and fell into being queer regularly. Yeah, so those are some of the tools. Other tools. Stonewashing. Oh my gosh, I love stone. Obviously, I can't show you stonewashing here, but almost every garment you see in film. I'm gonna take a drink. Wow. Ooh, Dave's asking delicious questions. What costume would you say you are most proud of creating? Gosh, that varies so much. I will say, like, from scratch costume that I'm proud of creating, that I made, not that I played a hand in creating or in the development of, is probably I did Marvel Comics Ronin from the New Avengers, and I made it entirely out of leather. I made a complete bodysuit for it. And I made like a comics faceplate because it's a full body jumpsuit. I used a lot of very cool methods to make it look beetle wing iridescent. I just have a lot of love for that costume, and it spent months and months and months making it. And the first convention, maybe the second convention I wore it to, I met the creator of that mantle and that story, and he was so bowled over he almost got into a car accident over it. I almost killed Brian Michael Bendis from my Ronin costume. True story. Yeah, thanks for the question. So, stonewashing. Oh yes, and for those of you who don't know, Iron Piss used to be my comics go-to, and so it's all her fault. Stonewashing is this cool method that they do kind of in bulk in film and TV. I don't know if you've noticed that all of the clothing in film and TV looks worn in. Looks like people have actually worn it. They buy it all new. This is one of my biggest beefs with film and TV, and I understand why. I know why they do it. It's because they have to have multiples and whatnot, but I don't have to like it. So they buy new clothing, and then they have to make it look worn. And so there's this process that literally involves taking the clothing and throwing it into essentially a washer full of rocks, full of pumice stones. And there's levels of distressed. And so you can put it in, and you can imagine like a pair of jeans in there for a couple minutes might look a little worn in, and then over time it gets more and more and more worn in. So that's why it's also where like the term stonewash denim comes from. It's literally a process to break down the fibers so that they are comfortable and softer, because new textiles are stiffer. They just are very often. So yeah, stonewashing is very cool. It's literally quick shorthand of like washing a garment 40 times. And then there's bleach. Bleach exists. Bleach is a great destroyer of garments. Not only does it remove dye, it also degrades natural fibers, which is great or terrible depending on what you use it for. And like certain concentrations of bleach do certain things. Never leave something in bleach for long periods of time, unless you don't like that thing and don't want it to exist anymore. But yeah, you can use bleach to make something look old by washing something. Like say you get a very dark t-shirt or a jacket, you can throw that into a light bleach wash and it'll make it look more worn. And yeah, Erica, you know this. We've talked. Film and TV is a very wasteful industry. And there's a bunch of ways that it's been getting better, but it's not great. And then the last one is all of my wonderful tools on my list. And there's other tools. There are so many ways, and like some of it's really silly. Like I think I swallowed a cat hair, everybody. There are people who use like baseball bats in garment breakdown. It's a very silly process. Sometimes it's like, let me take this jacket out and run it over a few times. I'm sure that'll make it look better. I wish I were joking. I know that that's happened in film and TV. Yep, cheese graters. Basically, this is a scarier cheese grater on fabric. Yeah, garment breakdown is one of those, like, you have to have a roadmap. So that's why I was showing you the research, because basically what I will do, if I were doing something like that, or even just doing something like this simple makeup, is have a roadmap of what I want, and as I do it, know how that happened. So whether that is something as simple as like, this garment's been washed 300 times, or this person walks with their arms scuffing the side of their jacket, telling on myself. But sometimes it's like, this person got into a horrible fight. There's this seam on this jacket. This one right here. That I don't even know how much you can see, but there's fully just a cut that's been restitched. Because the story of all the clothing in the 100 is that, I mean, they haven't had like a manufacturing factory at the beginning of that show for like all of the clothing that the people wear for like generations. They're on a generation ship that's about to die. And so the clothing, especially in season 1, is clothing that has been repurposed and passed down, because even just making fabric either is very time consuming or requires industrial equipment. And so the way that they told that story in the show is having everything be repurposed. And so this jacket remains this character's jacket for the whole show, basically. And so for them, it's actually a really smart investment, because then they only need to buy like 10 to 20 of this jacket for the entire run of what was like a 6-season show or something like that. And yeah, and then on the inside it's just like a nice normal jacket, so except there's a mask tucked into my pocket from God knows what. That's fine. Not a cosplay secret, just a mask in my pocket. Yep. Flynn, you get me. But yeah, so that's like how garments are broken down. It's very like individualized, and it's all about experimenting and having a little roadmap, and telling a story, and just like building a character sheet or building an art deck or whatever for a character, making a breakdown chart and saying like, oh, this person survived the Dust Bowl. This person is wearing a jacket that was probably 100 years old. What does that look like for you as the storyteller? And for tabletop, my suggestion to take all of this, besides being able to more sensibly talk about cleaning clothes, is that as a performer and a human, I hope that this taught you something about maintaining clothing, but B, that you can take it and say like, oh, what if it's a culture of repurposing, like things like the Japanese shishiko embroidery, or the Dust Bowl, where very commonly you'll see mixed match fabrics, because if one garment dies, you can then take the fabric from that and use it to patch another dying garment. There's a lot of really beautiful examples of dresses that are panels of multiple dresses all sewn together, and it is not for artistic purpose. It is to reuse those fabrics because the rest of the garment died. And so reuse is part of storytelling. It is part of culture. It is a way to say this character keeps these things, and maybe it's not because they're in a dire situation where they're away from the ability to get new clothing. Maybe it's cultural. Maybe it's out of reverence or religious respect. It could be literally anything. But there are 1,000 stories in degraded clothing. I love going to like thrift stores that have maybe not 100% new looking clothing, because you learn things. I've also found, I buy garments and I'll find like dry cleaning tags in them from the 60s. Every garment has a neat story hidden inside of it, especially when you start thinking about things like how clothing gets dirty, how it rips, how it is mended. And mending not only is a way of keeping garments, and on like a purely financial, place, it makes it so that you don't have to get new clothes, but also it is an act of love. It is an act of care. It is, in my opinion, like reusing garments is an act of resistance to a world that wants you to buy something new. And why I will always be telling you like, hey, don't buy something for $5 on Amazon if you can buy it from a company that makes it ethically, if you can afford that. Because fashion and costuming are some of the most wasteful industries on this planet. And with all of these things, I always encourage you to also do them safely. Learn what the safety tools are to work with the stuff you want to work with. So like talking about the wood burner, if you do want to burn something that's polyester, wear a vent mask, work under a hood, do it safely, so that you can learn from the mistakes that I have made and people before me have made. When you paint with gloves, take care of your body, because as much as you want to repurpose and reuse garments, also repurpose and reuse yourself. I need you to not get sick. So yeah, thank you for coming with me on this journey about dirty laundry and how I love dirty clothes, because I love dirty clothes. Yeah. Erica's talking about buying things from thrift stores. I will always say, like, go see if you can buy it secondhand, whether that is a thrift store, or I do a lot of shopping on Poshmark. A lot of my costume pieces, including I think this jacket, come from Poshmark. And then Indie Wanderer said, for a costume I'm making, I whip stitch each broken seam quickly because my character wouldn't want to get a new jacket, but wouldn't want to spend the time on mending it. I love that. So long as you can keep that jacket together in the real world, I think that rocks. Yeah, well, that's a lot of that. Of course, at any point in time, if anyone has any fun ideas, like the entirety of this stream was inspired by a suggestion I got in the suggestion box. Please suggest things. There we go! ! Suggest in chat. We'll take you to my suggestion box where this was dropped. It's a Google form for streams you'd like to see, subjects you'd like to see me cover. I will always try and tie them back into storytelling, even if they're deep in the weeds about costuming. And vice versa. I will probably always tie talking about storytelling back into costuming because that's my entire personality. And there's also on there a game poll for my game night streams. Right now, I think I'm going to finish Stray for the rest of the month. But if you have any games to suggest, please go in there. There's also other games that I might be playing in the near future on there. The other place that you can send things, I do have a mailbox. If at any point in time you want to reach out to me, ask me a question, maybe get some clarification on stuff I said on stream, or if at any point in time you have any safety or accessibility concerns about my stream, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm always looking to make this the most accessible stream I can for all of you, because accessibility is how I tell you I love you. Big nerd for accessibility, me. Yeah, so thank you for coming with me on this dirty clothing adventure. And gosh, time to talk about what I'm doing for the rest of the week. I have so many things going on. Oh my gosh. Okay, so as I said at the top of stream, this week on Thursday, March 27th, is the premiere of Laurie's House, which is an all-new actual play for the Home We Remember, where I get to play the architect, which is the GM role for the series, and the whole show is a love letter to community, home, and self-discovery. So I hope you will join us for that. And then that night, you can find me back here going into Midtown on Stray, where we get to talk a little bit more actually about repurposed garments and what a world looks like that is so frighteningly segregated. But, exploring it as a cat. As a little bit of content warning, there's also, not only is there systemic inequality in this next part, but there's also a little bit of police and police violence. So tune in, but take care of yourself too. And then on Friday begins WonderCon in Anaheim, where I'll be wandering around having a good old nerdy time in one of my favorite places. And on Saturday, you can find me at noon in room North 151 for TTRPG Content Creators Combating Imposter Syndrome and Burnout, where I will be on an illustrious panel including Mayana Barron, Johnny Stanton, Brooke Iyer, and Alex Reut on that panel, moderated by Jess Wade. And then at 6:30, I will be at Exploring Identity Through Character Creation in TTRPGs at room 213AB at the Convention Center. And that panel will be me, Mayana, Johnny, and we'll be joined by Darby Park. Geez, why don't I keep calling her Darby Park, the incredible chaotic Darby from the internet and Geeky Tea's fame. We'll be talking about exploring identity through tabletop. It's a good time. That one is also moderated by Jess. And then, as a reminder, there's also no Transplanter this weekend. Happy birthday to Connie, whose birthday is on Friday, I believe. I know how days of the week work. Wow, it's been a long day, everybody. But beyond those two exciting things, I will also, on the 1st, be joining the cast on Wounded Warrior Project Stream to Serve, the Fourth Age, with another adventure into Middle Earth with Free League's One Ring system, joining the cast there of incredible performers, and going back to Middle Earth to join them for the second half of their second season, the award-winning Fourth Age. So in the meantime, though, I'm always here to tell great stories, talk about costuming, and hang out with you all. So thank you so much for hanging with me. Oh my gosh, we have 9 minutes. I burned through that. I was like, oh, I'm going to take 10 minutes. It's been like 2. Well, if anyone has any costuming questions, I'll hang out for a couple minutes before we go right in somewhere. Because I want to end at 2 hours, not an hour and 50 minutes. And I'm too fast today. It's also because I was in 2 other recordings today. But yeah, things are busy in a good way. You could also find, this is my year of writing. I've got a bunch of writing projects coming up, and interviews and other adventures beyond. Yeah. Hydrate. Thank you, Flynn. Oh. And happy premiere to you all over at Vault Companions for Bioshock Perdition. Show us more dice. Flynn, you're so nice to me. What do I have now? I've shown those before. What's in here? Let's go into my... Ooh. Okay, so I have more dice on this side. Ooh, I'll do those. I just have like a jewelry tray of dice over here. Ooh. Okay, so I have these ones. We're gonna do these ones. These are kind of old now, and I've let them be in the sun too much. That's very upsetting. But these are another Everything Dice set, Warlock Deluxe. One of my favorites. The first set of dice I ever got from them. They're absolutely beautiful. There's a deep purple color. And then inside they also just have a delicate little bit of foil, and they're just beautiful. I saw them and I fell in love instantly. And I use this set often for magic casters. Especially warlocks, which I play a lot of. Yeah. But yes, Vault Companions premiered their new show on Sunday, which is Bioshock Perdition, where you get to see Rapture before nothing ever went wrong there. Nothing goes wrong in Rapture ever. And it's always my sincere pleasure to do graphics for the show, so you can go see all of these wonderful people performing in Bioshock, but using kids on bikes, which I think is brilliant. And they're off to a real strong start. Oh, man. Yeah, you should definitely go check them out and check out their back catalog of other works over on YouTube. The first show with Vault Companions was with me and some other wonderful people that you might have heard of. With Angels and Atoms, which is a Fallout show using the Fallout 2D20 system from Modiphius. And a cat. Lena, you've seen these cats. And then, yeah, their second show was Mass Effect Warp. And Patrick, you can remind me what system you use for Mass Effect Warp, because it's left my brain. But it's Mass Effect with some other wonderful humans. While I switch cameras. There we go. Cats! We're going to do more Rigby. Look at this man. Not a single thought in that little head of his. Hanging out in the laundry. Oh, yes, and the last thing I'll say for Vault Companions is the GM, Patrick, is a dear friend, and he runs a great game. But look at this baby boy. This is Rigby hiding in the hamper. He's clearly helping me with laundry here. He gets in the hamper, and he then attacks me. He's my little cartoon cat. He's a little evil. And now he's sitting right here, grooming himself like, no, Papa, I would never do anything evil. I'm a good little boy. He's not. He's lying. He's lying to all of you. All right. Well, thanks for a great stream, everybody. And yes, he also does love dirty laundry. He truly does. And with that, I think I will find someone fun to raid. Let's see who's on. I think Val's on. Oh, right. Patrick, you can send me the link, and I'll post it. But yes, Mass Effect Warped used a homebrew D&D. Yes, we're gonna go right into Val. All right, let's go watch Val now that he's home from being international lawyer man. And I'll see you all on Thursday. Have a good night.